Welcome, seniors. This is the next part of your AP Government Review. This section is going to cover the bureaucracy. So don't forget just a basic definition of the bureaucracy. It's basically the way you organize a large administrative structure. There's 2.8 million members of the bureaucracy today. It's probably our biggest hire in the United States is the U.S. government, who hires all these people to work in the bureaucracy. So this is a huge part of our government workings. It's a huge part of our budget. Um, Make sure you can answer a multiple choice question like this. Remember that, basically, if you've ever encountered someone in our government who's non-elected official, you've encountered a bureaucrat, and that's probably who is the face of our government for us. What the characteristics are of it is that, it is extremely hierarchical, meaning that, basically it's like a pyramid. There's somebody at top, there's somebody in the middle, somebody at the bottom. So technically at the top would be like the transportation secretary, and then under him is people that are in charge of, allocating resources for roads, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, all the way down to who you call to lodge your complaint that there's a pothole in your street. So there's job specialization. Each worker has their specific task. This is absolutely based on the Henry Ford factory model, that each person knows exactly what they should be doing and what they do. There's formal rules, very well established regulations that must be followed for everyone. This is an image. We saw lots of pictures of what the bureaucracy may look like. Do know its history and its growth. It first starts with the spoils system. This is the Andrew Jackson sort of if you're my friend, I give you a job sort of situation. Then there was a lot of reform, particularly the Pendleton Service Act, which introduced the merit system where you have to take tests and various things like this. There are other things that restrict what the bureaucrats can and cannot do, like the Hatch Act, civil service reform, things like this. The cabinet departments are at the top. So, we looked at all of the different people that are our secretaries of various things. So, if we're talking about the Treasury Department, Secretary of the Treasury is at the top, all the way down to various organizations that handle currency. So, independent executive departments like NASA, Small Business Administration, independent regulatory committees like Securities and Exchange Commission, Federal Reserve Board. These are independent from the government, but they are very much intertwined in what our government does. There's also lots of government corporations like the Tennessee Valley Authority, the TVA, which is the organization that really tries to promote that area in Tennessee we talked about during the Great Depression, Franklin Roosevelt, also the U.S. Postal Service. So I would know your cabinet departments. I would know as we said, the top three that are really those the interior cabinet and the exterior cabinet as the others. If you ever get a cabinet question, you should really go for which of these did our country need first. So if we're thinking about environmental policy, things like this is going to be much later than, Secretary of the Treasury. Make sure you know your executive office of the president, who works for the president. These are all people that are also in your bureaucracy. Questions, see if you can answer it. Questions, see if you can answer it. Okay, here's an example of a short answer question that you might get. Make sure that you could explain each part of it. If you can't, you should probably come in and talk to me. All right, congressional oversight. Remember, I said anytime you see Congress, you should talk about what they can do with money. So Congress, absolutely, money is their main thing that they're going to have say over. So Congress has lots of powers, but mostly it's the money. So they get to say things about the bureaucracy, about things, but their main power is that they're going to be able to cut it off financially. The same is true of the president. He can pledge troops, he can do various things, but if Congress does not pay for it, it's just not going to happen. There are lots of people that influence what the bureaucracy is going to do. Congress, the president, these alliances between the bureaucracy, congressional committees, interest groups, things like this. So bureaucracy seems very confusing. It is not, however. Really understand. Don't get yourself too wrapped up in what it may mean. If you have other questions, please absolutely come see me before or after school. Good luck.